Next on my route is the capital of Orissa, Bhubaneswar, which is also known as the city of temples. Bhubaneswar literally means the abode of God. Bhuvan meaning palace and Ishwar meaning God. This city still preserves over 500 of India's finest temples, which showcase centuries of temple architecture. Although I can't possibly visit each and every temple here, I do plan to begin with some of the most significant and famous ones, like the Mukteshwar temple. The small and elegant Mukteshwar temple dates back to 950 AD, and it is often referred to as the miniature gem of Orissan architecture. Besides its beauty, it is also an important transition point between early and later phases of the Kalinga school of temple architecture. It has a successful combination of old elements mixed with new concepts and designs. In fact, some of the innovations created right here became essential features of the temples built later. That is why it is known as the harbinger of the new culture.
Muktidata Gupteswara ho asiti aji mandire hai dukha nivarina jaye re Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya.
This temple is a treasure trove of sculptures. There are so many depictions of ascetics. Most of them are shown either teaching or in meditative poses. Also, around the windows of the Jagmohan is the Panchtantra, which are ancient Indian children's stories. There are niches containing Buddhist, Jain and Hindu images, which shows a wonderful synthesis of religious life in Orissa. Next on my temple trail is the great Lingaraj temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. It was built in the 11th century and apparently soars over the city. Wow. Incredible. Now I can see why the Lingaraj represents Orissan architecture at its most mature stage. It's huge. Unlike many of the other temples in Bhubaneswar, the Lingaraj is still a place of active worship. However, entry is strictly prohibited for non-Hindus. This viewing platform comes in handy for tourists and non-Hindus, and this is also the best place to enjoy the view of the temple. By the time the Lingaraj temple was constructed, a cult called Purushottam had become predominant throughout Orissa. Evidence of this lies in the fact that the temple deity here is not strictly a Shivling, but a Hariharaling, which means half Shiva, half Vishnu. This is a great example of the syncretic nature of Orissan religion. I really wish cameras were allowed in here. I would love to capture this and take it home. Later that night, after exploring the city, I decided it was time to try a proper Oriya meal. I'd heard a lot about the traditional cuisine at the Mayfair Lagoon and dropped by to grab a bite. Let the feast begin. Bon appetit, or as they say in Orissa, Subho Bhojan. The next morning, I began my journey to Chilaka Lake. It's about 100 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. I've just arrived in Chilika, and now that I'm actually here, I can understand what everyone meant when they said this lagoon is absolutely massive. And it is. In fact, it's Asia's largest brackish water lagoon, covering an area of over 1,100 square kilometers. Chilika is a highly productive lagoon ecosystem and has rich fishery resources, which sustain the livelihood of thousands of fisherfolk who live in and around these waters. Chilika is truly a bird lover's paradise. Millions of birds flock here every year, from white-bellied seagulls and grey-lag geese to flamingos and purple moorhens. Right behind me, a flock of beautiful eagles. It's just stunning. Chilika is designated as a Ramsar site, or a wetland of international importance. This place is home to over 200 species of fish, as well as a huge variety of aquaflora and non-aquatic plants. What I love about Chilika? The fact that there's tiny islands all over the place. This here is Beacon Island, and it's an architectural marvel in its own right. First, it's built on a submerged mass of rock. And second, it was built while the water level was as high as it is today. I've just spent an entire day at Chilika and wish I had some more time, ideally 3 to 4 days, to explore the other beautiful islands around here. But today, nonetheless, was absolutely lovely, really relaxing. The energy here is beautiful. You just feel great, and time, you know, it just slips away. Still to come is the Bhitarkanika Wildlife Sanctuary. It's famous for